Hi everyone. In this video series, we will deploy and operate a Kubernetes cluster using Cisco Intersight. It's going to be a step-by-step demonstration. My name is Syed Zaidi and I'm a Senior Solution Architect with Cisco Systems. We will go through deploy and verify Kubernetes cluster on ESXi environment. We will deploy a basic application using MongoDB and MongoExpress just to show that our environment is working. We will also do a walkthrough on how to manage and operate this Kubernetes deployment. We will also add Kubernetes Dashboard as part of it. We will also integrate Intersight Workload Optimizer with our deployed Kubernetes cluster, just to give us some more insights into our cluster and application. And lastly, we will deploy the same cluster using Terraform. So let's start. To intersight.com using Cisco ID. And select the right account and role. Before we go ahead and deploy our Kubernetes cluster, just a little about my environment. I'm running a UCSC series as a standalone, implemented my ESXi on top of it and install vCenter as well. So before we can proceed, you need to claim your UCS and your vCenter within the Intersight environment. To do that, you simply go to targets and do a claim target, and you can claim your Cisco UCS server running in your data center by following the steps here. You will also need Cisco Intersight Assist, which is a virtual machine deployed in your data center environment to integrate your vCenter. So it talks to vCenter on one end and it will integrate with intersight.com on the back end. So you need to implement your Cisco UCS server, Cisco Intersight Assist, and once that is done, you can come and integrate your VMware Center over here by claiming it as a target. Since the demonstration is more focused on Kubernetes, so we'll skip those steps. I'll just show you my virtualization environment. So once your vCenter is integrated, you will see your data center, clusters, all the related information in the virtualization tab. So as you can see, we have our data centers, we have our clusters, we have our ESXi hosts. If you have any virtual machines running on your environment, it will show up over here, and similarly your data stores. So next is we'll go ahead and start deploying our Kubernetes cluster on this environment. We will go ahead and create the Kubernetes cluster by creating a Kubernetes profile. We'll go to configure, click profiles, and we can use this workflow over here to create the cluster profile. This workflow uses certain parameters and values which can be configured from scratch as part of this workflow, or they can be pre-defined or pre-configured using the policies and pools. So you can go to policies, you can do create policy, and you can create all those policies over here and predefine them. But for our demonstration, we are going to do them from scratch as part of our Kubernetes cluster profile workflow. So let's start by clicking it. We are going to create our cluster under the default organization. All my resources are there. That's the only organization I have. If you have any other, you can select depending upon your environment. So just the name. We can set tags to identify them in a key value format, give any description, but we'll keep it simple and skip those steps. Next is the cluster configuration, which is related to the network system and the SSH. We will need to create an IP pool. Let's create a new one. This IP pool will again be configured under the default organization. This is the IP pool which your master and your worker nodes will use to communicate with the external world. So this will be the external IP, and you can see them on your vCenter as well as part of your VM IP address. So we'll just call it IKS1 IP pool. Again, you can set some tags and description. Let's skip that. Configure the net mask, gateway, DNS, and then the IP block. I'm going to use from 170, and I'll give a range of, like, I'll use 10 IPs. Click next. I'm not going to use IPv6, so I can uncheck that and click create. That will create my IP pool, and it is selected over here. I'm going to implement only one load balancer as part of my cluster. Then comes the IKS admin, and I will need to add the public key. So this is the public key from system I will use to access the nodes. And a note here, we will use the ACDSA encryption. I will copy paste my public key, sorry. Here, you can use commands from your Mac or Windows to generate that key. You can use puttygen in Windows, and in Mac also you can use the commands like, for example, shkey gen, and then you give the encryption as ECDSA and 521 bytes and generate that key. So next is to create the DNS and NTP and time zone. Time zone, we start with Dubai, so Asia Dubai, DNS server. NTP, and my domain is dxp6lab.com. That's my search domain. So once all that is correct, you will see a green check. Next is the network CIDR. So here we will define the subnets which we will use for our pod and service CIDRs. So I'll use 10.10.1.0 for my pods and 10.10.2.0 for my services. So for example, if I'm going to create an internal service or external service within my Kubernetes cluster, it's going to use the IP addressing from the service CIDR. Once that is done, optionally you can configure your trusted registries and also your container runtime policy. For example, if you're running your Docker behind a proxy, you can configure those settings over here. In our environment we are not, so we will skip those steps. Click next. Next comes the control node configuration. So this is our master node within the Kubernetes cluster. So we want one, and here we will define, like, if you want more than one, then you can increase that number. Kubernetes version, we are going to create a new one. Just the name. It gives you the versions which we are supporting. You can select that to create. It's going to create the version for you, and it's selected over here. Next comes the IP pool. I'll select the IP pool which I created in the previous step. Then is the virtual machine infra config. So let's create a new one. Here it will show you the clusters which it kind of got from the vCenter. So we will deploy our Kubernetes cluster on the you can deploy them on any of your clusters. We will use Intersight cluster, and then it shows you the available data stores in this drop down. So we'll use this one. Next is the resource pool. We haven't configured any resource pool in the vCenter, but if you have, then you can go ahead and get the name from there and put it over here. The admin password and the interface. That's the virtual interface it will use. So again, you can get that in your from your vCenter environment. I'm using standard VM network, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Create. It's created. Next is the type, the virtual machine type we will use for a master node. It will ask us to configure like how much CPU, memory, and all that stuff. So VM type. Next, I'm going to leave it at 400 CPU, 500 GB, and memory. Create. So you can see that it has selected my VM config and the VM type over here. Click next. We'll move to the worker node. So IKS1 worker node. Desired size 1, maximum size we'll give it 2 so that it can scale if required. It has selected the version which we have created. Again, we'll select the IP pool and simply next. We will not create the add-on as of now. That's where we are going to create the Kubernetes dashboard. We'll do that as part of the next video. So click next. Now we are at a stage where we can go ahead and deploy our cluster. So click deploy. It will go ahead and start deploying the cluster as per our given parameters. You can see that it's running that. It's going to take some time, so we will go ahead and pause the video and we'll come back and continue once it's done. Thank you. Now our profile is configured and deployed. So once that is done, you will see your cluster under operate and Kubernetes. So now we see that our cluster is deployed. Next is to connect to this server. You can use kubectl or Terraform or any other way to connect and deploy your applications and consume this cluster. For this video series, we'll use kubectl. So I will go ahead and download the kubeconfig file. And next is we'll use PowerShell to connect to this. So by default, kubectl looks for the config file under .kube directory, or you can reference the downloaded kubeconfig file directly as well. So for sake of simplicity, we'll just copy the downloaded file to the kubeconfig, and then we will try to connect to our deployed cluster, kubectl get nodes, and you can see that the status is ready and we have 2 nodes, one control or master node and one worker node deployed as per our profile. I would also like to show you the VMs in the vCenter. So here you can see that we have one control node and one master node deployed, and these are using the IP address which we reserved in our IP pool. So it just picked one IP address from there and allocated it, and same goes for the worker node. We can look further into our Kubernetes cluster by clicking it, and then It gives us some more details regarding our cluster. It's running ESXi, Kubernetes version. We have one control node, one worker node, running one active network. So now if you go to operate, it will give you some more details around it. So under nodes, you can see that again, I have 2 nodes deployed. Now if you click any one of them, it will show you even further details, like on which ESXi host it's running, what are the IP address it's consuming, and CPU and guest OS information. A lot of other information is available. You can go to clusters, on which cluster it's running, on which host it's running. All that information is available. So that's the good thing. We are starting from a VM level and going all the way to the host level. So if you click the host, it will give you the details about the host on which this control node is running. You can see that there is an alarm. I'm only using one power supply, that's why there is one critical alarm showing up here. But there's a good way of using one pane of window to view all the details regarding my deployment. So the other thing is that you can get some more details around your deployed cluster, like when you were deploying, by going to the request, and you can get all the details of your workload which was deployed as part of your Kubernetes cluster deployment. So it gives you all the details. You can drill down further to get some more information. This comes really handy if for some reason your cluster is not deployed successfully and there were some issues around it. So this gives you those insights to troubleshoot. We'll stop here for now, and in the next video we'll go ahead and deploy a MongoDB and Mongo Express on this Kubernetes cluster. We will also try to install the Kubernetes dashboard to get some more insights into our cluster and application. So see you in the next video. Thank you.